I bought this house for only £82,000. This house is worth around 600 grand. Cheap versus expensive. What makes a better investment? I'm going to reveal all and why. Hi, Kevin McDonald here. I've been a property investor now for over 20 years. I've built up a multi-million-pound property portfolio, and today I'm outside my former tenants from hell property. I'm going to be taking you inside and showing you what works have been done. You may remember this property. Just a few weeks ago, I did a video showing you how trashed the place was. The tenants destroyed it. If you want to see that video, if you've not seen it before, you can watch it here now. But before we go inside to have a look, make sure you like, subscribe and hit that notification bell. By the way, before we go in, the builders are still in here. It's not finished. We're probably about a week off and ready to rent this place out, so it hopefully looks much better than it did last time. Sitting room first of all. This had been turned into a bedroom. If you remember, this is where there was stuff absolutely everywhere in the previous video. The place absolutely stank, and on the window here there was cleaning material that had never been used. He's never f***ing used it! F***ing use it! So what we've done is put in whole new floors. We've repainted, replastered everything. Fitted new doors, new skirting boards, new timbers all the way around. Note to self, don't touch the wall. Wet paint, radiators, new thermostats, everything. Pretty much a completely new house. The only thing we've not changed is the windows. So that's the sitting room. We'll take you through to the kitchen. If you remember in a previous video here, there was a tire in the corridor that was like keeping the door open or something. No idea why it was there. The kitchen was another level of stink. I remember opening the fridge here and there was rotten food in the fridge that had been there for months. So that's completely gone. We've ripped out the kitchen, we've took everything out. We've put spotlights in on the ceilings, new tiles, we've got the cooker still to fit, we've got the sinks to fit. So the kitchen was the biggest part of this refurbishment, the kitchen and the bathroom. That's where you will add most value to a property. The bedrooms, the sitting room, that's just really new flooring, painting, decorating. Fitting a new kitchen can add massive value to a property. Kitchens don't need to be expensive. You can pick them up at bargain prices. You can pick them up as ex-display kitchens. You can get access to discount clubs like the Landlords National Property Group, LNPG. A member of LNPG, you'll pick a kitchen like this up from Magnet Kitchens for less than 2 grand. Then it's just fit it yourself, get it in place, and don't put paint on the kitchen like I've just done. What paint? Even though the refurb's not finished yet, it looks like a part building site, because it is a part building site, but just standing here, the difference, the smell, right, compared to what it used to be, the finish from what it used to be, it just gives me a really good feeling knowing that we've took another property that was run down, trashed, and brought it back into a really high standard to give a nice family a home that they can be proud of. Landlords get bashed a lot on social media. Landlords get bashed a lot about substandard accommodation, squatter homes. The reality is there's good landlords and bad landlords, just like there's good tenants and bad tenants. What this country needs is more good landlords providing good quality accommodation for people to solve the housing crisis. If that's you, if you feel you could be somebody who could provide good accommodation, who could look after properties and provide good homes for people, then get started in property. If you want to learn how, there's a completely free report that you can download now in the description and in the pinned comments where you can get started in property in 2023. Go grab it and get yourself moving and help solve that housing crisis. No better feeling, apart from, you know. Don't include that. So the carpets are fitted upstairs as well already. We even fitted a completely new banister. So in the previous property, you may remember in the video me kicking through the side of the banister here. There was an old-fashioned timber banister and it literally needed to go. It was all holes anyway from the tenants, so we kicked it out. We fitted a brand new banister, which looks really nice, really fresh. New timber work, new doors, everything is new right throughout the property. The bathroom. In here, in the previous video, there was a carpet that had a certain type of stain on it all the way around the floor. What is that goes around the toilet? So that's thankfully been replaced as well. Completely tiled, so all new tiles, new toilets, new sinks, new vanity unit, new showers, new screens. We always fit a towel rail for the radiator, so towel rails in a bathroom are really important, really nice. And then 3 bedrooms. As I said downstairs, most of the work goes into the kitchens and the bathrooms. The rest is just paint and decorating, very little cost, and you can make the place look completely new. Now, the worst room of all when we were here previously was the front bedroom. Let's see what we did in there. Wow, it's just completely different. This was a whole built-in wardrobe. There was a bed over there and there was just a load of stuff in the middle everywhere. You couldn't even walk in this bedroom. Now you've got a big, massive main bedroom, nice, freshly painted, new flooring, new carpets, new wiring, everything new. Looks really, really, really good. Final bedroom, again, not a lot to do in here, paint, decorate, same thing. What I love about this property is the views out from the front. Lots of gardens, you've got a local shop just across the road, really nice part of town, and now a really nice house in a nice area. I see so many people that do refurbs, and when you open up a cupboard space, it's unplastered walls, they're not carpeted. I don't agree with that whatsoever. I think this is an area where tenants are going to be leaving their clothes, they're going to be storing stuff, and it should look clean and tidy just like the rest of the house. And it doesn't cost a lot to just finish the cupboards in the same way you'd finish a bedroom. Little bit of money, but adds massive value when a tenant walks around in terms of what they'll pay to rent a property. So should you buy cheap property or pay a bit more, buy expensive properties? Well, it's not really about buying cheap or expensive. There's positives, there's negatives to both. So for instance, this is not a normal part of town that I would normally buy a property in. This area here is what I would call on the way towards expensive. If you imagine the cheapest house in town is in a number 1 area and the most expensive is in the number 10 area, I would be typically buying property, most of my portfolio, in a sort of 2, 3, 4 level area. This property is in a 6 to 7 area, so it's middle to high end area of the town. It's not quite the most expensive, but it's more expensive than what I would normally purchase. Now, the downside of that is the property will not return as much profit from rental income. So if you're looking for long-term buy-to-lets, the cheaper the area you go to, the higher the rental return. Now, this is simple mathematics. If you work with me, here's why. Because if you buy in a cheaper area, you're going to have a cheaper mortgage. So in a 2, 3, 4 area in our town, I would have a mortgage borrowing of maybe anything from 70 to 100 grand. That 70 to 100 grand property, depending on what type of mortgage we have on it, will be anything from 100 to 500 pound a month mortgage payment. So that's on a 70 to 100 grand property. Now, the rental income in those areas will be between 500 to 700 pound a month. If you're renting a house for 700 quid a month and the mortgage is 300 quid a month, that's returning you 400 pound a month. So a good rental income. This property, the value today is going to be about 195 grand. If I refinance that, the mortgage could be about 600 quid, maybe 650 quid a month. But the rental income will be about 850 a month. So it's going to give you less monthly rental income, a couple of £100 a month. So the upside of a cheaper area is you'll make more money monthly. The downside is you don't get as much capital growth. Let me explain why. This house, I bought this about 9 years ago. So 8, 9 years ago, purchased this property. We paid £82,000 for it. Fast forward a few years with a refurbishment as well. So the capital growth and the refurbishment, this house today is worth 195 grand. That is over 110 grand of added value. 110 grand, that's a lot of money. Now the refurb has cost about 20, which means, right, we've made over 90,000 pounds in growth. 90 grand in growth. Go to the cheaper area of town. Back at the time I bought this, I was buying properties for 50 to 60 grand. Those properties today, so fast forward 10 years with a refurb, are worth around 130 grand. If we bought it for 60, we spent the same 20 on a refurb as 80. If that's worth 130, that's 50 grand of added value. So this one's gone up 90 grand. The cheaper part of town has gone up 50 grand. So you'll get more capital growth in an expensive area. You'll get more cash flow in a cheaper area. So which should you do? You should have a mix of both. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. If you've got all rental income and no capital growth, you'll have good cash flow every month, but you won't create any long-term legacy. If you've got all capital growth but no rental income, you might not have the cash to get to the capital growth. You might not have the cash to survive if interest rates go up, if there's a downturn in the market, if any challenges come to your business. Cash flow will always be king, because cash flow is the oxygen that allows your business to flow. It allows your business to flourish. You can create cash flow and use it to buy in more expensive areas. So the capital growth is the long-term legacy. It's the vanity. It's the thing that creates the long-term wealth. But the cash flow today is the thing that allows you to stay in the game long-term. Imagine if you invest only for capital growth. How are you going to survive? What's going to pay the bills? What's going to cover your costs? What's going to free you from your job? The cash flow does that. Get a bit of both and stick to one town. So what I'm talking about is cheap versus expensive. A lot of people make a big mistake on this. They think expensive means London and cheap means the north of England. No, there's micro markets in every town. We're not talking about a different city or a different part of the country. We're talking about a cheap part of town and a more expensive part of the same town. I get asked a lot, is it better to have one house that cash flows £1,000 a month or 3 houses that would cash flow £1,000 a month between them? And it kind of back to the same thing, is why would you not have both? So I've got a lot of what I call HMOs, multi-let properties, that cash flow £1,000+ a month. But I've also got a lot of single lets where 3 of them wouldn't even make £1,000 a month. So why don't you just do loads more HMOs? Why not just get lots of £1,000 a month properties instead of spreading it out? Well, here's the upside of a HMO, a house in multiple occupation. It can make you £1,000 a month cash flow. But I'll give you an example. If we take the same timeline, back in 2014, I would have bought a HMO and the property price that I paid for that back then was probably, let's say, 140 grand. Today, the rental income is very similar and the value of the house is very similar. Why? Because rental income in HMOs do not go up as quickly and as high as rental income in single-let properties. But neither does the value of the house, because a HMO property is typically valued against the rental income. So your £1,000 a month 10 years ago will probably still be £1,000 a month today, or maybe £1,100 or £1,200 if you're lucky. But the single lets, those properties that might have had a rental income of 500 quid a month 10 years ago, are now renting out for 750 a month. So you've over 10 years created an additional 750 quid a month profit across 3 single let properties, 250 per property. So over time, the single lets can go up in rental income. The other big benefit of having the 3 single lets is you've got what I call 3 rooftops. 3 rooftops going up in value. 1 HMO, 1 property bringing in £1,000 a month, great. But it's 1 property going up in value or not going up in value if it's based on the rental income as a commercial type valuation like a HMO often is. But if you got 3 single lets, you got 3 rooftops going up in value. Now you might say, oh, but what about if there's a crash? Then you got 3 going down in value. True, but here's what happens in the property market. What goes up and then it comes down a bit and then it goes up again and then it comes down a bit and then it goes up again, but it always trends up. If you look back to the biggest crash in history, 2008, house prices are higher today than they were then. Back in 1990s, the previous crash, house prices were higher by 2008 than they were then. And even if we go into another property crash at the moment, by 2035, 2040, 2045, there'll be another up, another down, another up, another down, and it'll always trend up. They'll always go up over time, which is why you need the cash flow to sustain your business during that period of time. But here's the best part. We are standing in the added value. People panic all the time about a property crash. It's because they're buying something in this condition, done up beautifully, crossing their fingers and hoping the market will make them money. No, that's what amateurs do. This property here, just by spending some money doing it up, just by painting and decorating, fitting a new kitchen and a new bathroom, we have added massive value to this property. We've added 30, 40 odd grand. The capital growth has added about 40, 50 grand over the last 10 years. The refurbs added another 30, 40 grand in added value to the property, just by refurbishing it. If you buy a property and you add 30, 40 grand to the value, if the market drops 20 grand, you've still won. Look what I found. It's the world's biggest door stopper. We still have it. If anyone's watching this and you need 185 70 or 14 tire, free to a good home. But if you want to use it as a door stopper, you can as well. That was my beautiful mistake. The house we purchased 10 years ago, completely trashed by a tenant. It's looking like a brand new home again. This was an 82 grand purchase. It's now worth around 195 grand. If you want to learn how you can find deals like this, deals that no matter what happens, you still win, then there's a completely free report that you can download right now. It's in the pinned comments, it's in the description. Go download it right now. If you want to watch another video, learn more about property, you can do that here now. Make sure you like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell, and I'll see you next time.